MTV was a TV station that teens adored. They could watch their bands, they could watch their favorite bands play their newest track in music videos. That was how they could watch Guns N' Roses videos back then. And let's not forget that they had TV shows also to entertain the young ones whenever there was no music videos on. Does introduce shows such as Beavis and Butthead, and that's the only MTV cartoon I know. And let me tell you, parents were not happy that teens were watching this because they would claim that it's from the devil and that it makes children want to smoke cigarettes and that they're actually and that the Satan controlled a guy to create the network so that it can mind warp the minds of kids. You know, classic parent stuff. Back then in the 90s, that they'll always want to prevent them from their child doing anything fun. But in the late 2000, but in the early 2000s, there was a show that not only teens watch it to have fun, but will also laugh at their misery and be grossed out by the stunts that they watch. Parents were offended by this. The kids that watch the show are will become afraid that the child is gonna watch that show. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the show that started the career of probably a lot of people, and with these words, it will trigger a plethora of memories for teens of the early 2000s. Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville. Welcome to Jackass. Jackass was an MTV show that ran from 2000 and 2003, I believe. That's when it ended, and it had 2 seasons. It starred Johnny Knoxville, which always starts the show with a bang. You got Bam Margera, which is the guy who likes to go at extreme, the rad dude, and can't take a joke. So whenever he gets pranked, he kind of gets mad. He doesn't take it lightly. You got Steve-O, the insane one. Danger Aaron or Aaron McGinnity, which is the guy that they always poke fun of. Dave England, who they all made fun of because he only has one testicle, and Ryan Dunn, who was just a friendly guy around, With this group, they created the most disgusting MTV show of all time, and I don't mean disgusting because it's like a dark show with a bunch of stuff, I'm talking gross. This show had insane stunts featuring skiing on a mountain of human feces, or probably the most famous one, Johnny Knoxville getting bit in the nipple by a baby alligator, which is the photo of the show. And let's not also forget vomit is shown in the show. Yes, people, vomit was shown on a TV show, not made with practical effects or anything. I'm talking straight up vomit from real people. This show was like the show that you were like, I dare you, I pay you $10 if you go 10 minutes without getting grossed out by this show. This was the show that everybody watched, not because they enjoyed it, but for sick pleasure. And let me tell you, the parents weren't happy about this. This didn't go. This went bigger than the one time Beavis and Butthead accidentally encouraged kids to burn down forests. Parents demanded the show to get off MTV, and they use it as an example of why MTV should be banned. So the show didn't last for long. It lasted for like 2 seasons, I believe. But people were hungry for more stunts. So what they did was they released the movie, which footage that can never be shown on TV because we all know how TV restriction is. Go watch Diamond Bolt's video about it. So instead, they went on with a movie because with movies they could do anything. So they released an episode of Jackass that will be grosser, more intense, and even more wild than the episodes they aired on TV. And in 2002, Jackass the movie premiered. This movie I'm gonna go. I'm like I've watched all four Jackass movies. They're not movies that I enjoyed. Like they're not movies that I go over and say actually the plot of this movie was it. No, these are just movies I enjoy simply because they're fun. You don't expect a real hardcore story from a movie about guys who are getting kicked in the balls. No, the only reason why we watch these movies is because they're for fun. You watch them with your friends, you have fun with it, you laugh at everybody's misery. It's a show that you watch for like I said, sick pleasure. The movie, whenever it came out, it had big rankings in it. Big rankings in it. Audiences loved it. Critics, not so much. They didn't like the movie. You know why? You know why? Like I said, this movie does not have a good story. And overall, in my opinion, this has got to be the weakest of the Jackass films, in my opinion. Not because it's not fun or anything. It's enjoyable. It's just I feel like it's the weakest. It doesn't prepare that much. Now, after this movie, the Jackass team were like, we're done. We don't want to do anything Jackass related anymore. So that happened. No Jackass there was no Jackass. Yep, absolutely. Years went by, people wanted a new Jackass film. They wanted to see Johnny Knoxville back. It was boring. 4 years later, Johnny Knoxville and the gang came back with a new steady sensation called Jackass number 2. Not Jackass 2 because they put number 2 because that's how hardcore they are. And let me tell you, this movie, I gotta say, out of the four Jackass films, I think like most people, this would be like the best of them. Not my favorite, but I still say it's the best. Now this movie went out even further. I'm talking about bulls. There are more bulls in this movie than you'll ever see in any Jackass films. I'm talking about bull rodeo, bull stampede right at the beginning of the movie. You have the Jackass crew running away from bulls in an empty neighborhood. And literally, before Johnny Knoxville says, I'm Johnny Knoxville, welcome to Jackass. Before he says it, bam, literally runs through a window to avoid being hit by a bull. And right when Johnny Knoxville says that iconic line, a bull hits him, and it crashes into a window. This movie is wild, man. This movie is wilder than the first one. And not only that, it got even better reviews than the first one. In fact, they were so good that people demanded for a third Jackass film. And let me tell you, this movie also ended with a bang, with the song that is still ingrained in my mind. The best of times is now. We always laugh at us away. The best of times is now. What's left of summer but a faded rose? The best of times is now. As for tomorrow, well, who knows? So hold this moment fast, And anyways, yeah, the movie, ended with a bang like the first Jackass film. And then, we didn't get another Jackass film. Pretty silent. I kind of miss it. It's kind of hard missing. It's kind of hard not forgetting those words. But then in 2010, I believe, or 2013. No, 2010. Jackass released their third film for the first time in most theaters in 3D. Yes, my friends. In this movie, not only do you get to see Johnny Knoxville's and the rest of the gang's body being exploded in 3D, but you can also see human feces in 3D, vomiting in 3D, and yes, dildos in 3D. This movie is wild. Like, the reason, now I know I keep on saying this for every Jackass films, but let me tell you, this one has got to be the wildest of them all. I'm talking about this movie has the iconic Poo Cocktail Supreme, where Steve-O so disgustingly graciously goes inside of a porta potty, gets launched 250 meters in the air, I believe, and then he goes back down, and all that crap is going in, is like going and sloshing all around as he's going in that porta potty. It is disgusting, and let me tell you, people went out of this movie vomiting. It is truly a sight to behold. And of course, like all Jackass movies, this all started and ended with a bang. With the beginning of the movie, with "The Kids Are Back" by Twisted Sister. Look up the song. I'm not gonna play it because YouTube's such a bitch, And after that film, and as of right now, it is the highest grossing Jackass film. Back then, this used to be the highest grossing Jackass film. $170 million in the box office, guys. And then, we didn't get any more Jackass films. Nope. It's not like I could, And then on February 1st, 2022, Jackass Forever came out. And let me tell you, I watched Jackass so much when I was little before this movie came out. I watched it with my cousins. I watched it with my cousins. I watched it with my sisters. I watched it and my mom got mad at me for watching it even better. Huh. Anyways, yeah. And the fourth one, honestly, it kind of, the fourth one, it's kind of like the Avengers Endgame of the Jackass films. It's kind of like I haven't seen the franchise in years, and you just kind of cry about it because the memories that you had with the older Jackass films in the series, and then Johnny Knoxville and the gang are getting old, and they're not gonna do this anymore because they're getting old. They're reaching their 50s. They were reaching their 50s in that film, and you just cry, not just of laughter, but because of sadness, because these guys are not going to do these crazy shenanigans again. So you just kind of cry about it because they're not going to do this stuff anymore, but they are going to introduce new cast members so they can carry on the legacy, passing the torch, as I say. Now was one thing that I remembered when I first saw this movie in theaters was, wait a minute, where's Ryan Dunn? He was kind of like the happy-go-lucky guy of it. What happened to him? Well, I don't know how to tell you this, but in June 2011, a year after Jackass 3D came out, Ryan Dunn died in a car crash at the age of 34. So, yeah, and this death was not taken lightly by anyone in the Jackass crew. Johnny Knoxville, I think if I heard this right, he got very mad about it. He was crying about it. Steve-O, in my opinion, Steve-O, in my opinion, I think his was kind of traumatic because he was a close friend of his, and he almost and he was very sober on alcohol and drugs. And after his death, Steve-O was like, my best friend is dead. What's left? And he started going back on alcohol and drugs because of his friend's death. But everybody in the Jackass crew, comforted him. Yeah, death of a friend. Nice joke, Amy Schumer, to Steve-O, huh? It's very it's very nice to joke about someone's death, huh? Yeah. And Bam Margera, he got it the worst. Whenever Ryan Dunn passed away, he didn't restrain. He didn't wanted to do it and then denied like Steve-O did. He actually gave himself up to alcohol and drugs after Ryan Dunn's death. Everybody in the Jackass crew wanted to comfort him, but no, Bam Margera didn't listen. He got in so much trouble that even the Jackass crew felt kind of unsafe being around him. So yeah, Ryan Dunn's death, was not taken lightly by the Jackass crew, but apparently not Amy Schumer, who thought would be an amazing joke to make about. So yeah, Ryan Dunn's death was not taken lightly by the whole Jackass crew. And when I heard about this, I almost cried because this dude was, I wouldn't say he was, I don't want to sound rude. He wasn't kind of the, how do I say this? Like he was a happy-go-lucky guy, you know. He was getting cheery. You know, if he got, you know, he got pranked, he would take it very nicely, you know. You know, he was kind of like Steve-O's main man, you know, next to Wee Man. So yeah, this is a very huge step in the Jackass crew. Now, before I close this video, I'm gonna have to say that Jackass did came out with a spin-off called Bad Boys, where they go into where they go to different jungles. I think it was when they go to different jungles and they put like a operating system, and they put like a and they put isn't that when like they go to a jungle and then they put like traps in it and they try to escape from being shot from the traps, but it got canceled. And that was the history of me and Jackass. Through the films, to the TV show, to the tragic passing of Ryan Dunn, to the aftermath of the death of Ryan Dunn, and the spinoff called Bad Boys. And to close off our rebellious Team February, I will sing "The Best of Times Is Now." For tomorrow will be Tromarch, which I'm very excited because Troma is one of my favorite film studios of all time. So stay tuned for tomorrow, for I'm going to sing Poultrygeist by Calamari Safari for the beginning of Tromarch. Stay tuned.